How's everybody doing today? It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I want to thank you for allowing me to take part in the program a little bit. You know, one of the slides up there that kind of got me the most was the guy standing in the crossroad, because that's where I found myself a lot of times as a kid, as a young person, as a teenager, as an adult, and even as mayor of Boston sometimes. Life's about choices. You know, and you come into those crossroads that you don't know which way to go. And sometimes people take a left where they should have taken a right or should have gone straight. And sometimes that road takes you down a road that's not a good road. You know what I mean? And that's, we'll talk a little bit about that today. You know, first thing I just want to talk about a little bit is about the economy. And you might say, well, why am I talking about the economy? Because it's about the future. It's about jobs. You know, making sure that how do we get good jobs? And how you get good jobs is by education. You know, my introduction was this. I went to St. Margaret's Grammar School. I went to Edward for kindergarten, St. Margaret's Grammar School. I went to high school. After high school, I went to Quincy Junior College because I couldn't get into Suffolk University and couldn't get into the other colleges. Why? Because I didn't pay attention in high school. Because on the board where the grades were, when they showed the A's and B's, that wasn't me. But you know something? I went to Quincy Junior College for a year because I didn't want to drop out of school. I wanted to make sure I got a job. I was working construction, but I wanted to do something in my life. So I went to Quincy Junior College. You know what I realized at Quincy Junior College? The C's and D's I was getting in high school were B's and a couple A's because I was putting my mind to it. I realized, oh, I can do this. And then when I did that, I switched over to Suffolk University for this, where I wanted to go. And after about a year, I realized it wasn't for me at the time, so I dropped out of school. So at the age of 19, 20 years old, I'm not going to college. I'm working construction. And that crossroad that was on the wall that was there, a lot of that crossroad was where I was every day figuring out what I'm going to do. And I see a lot of young men here and young women that are listening to me probably going, I want to be outside because it's 65 degrees out and it's sunny and it's nice, and I don't want to be listening to this guy up there talking and all this stuff. And you don't have to listen, but my advice is listen. Because there's a lot of rooms that I was in that I'd hear people talking about, oh, I wish I paid more attention in high school. I wish I did better in college. And I'd be like, yeah, I just want to keep going. You know, as Percy said, I'm out the door. And, you know, so I made some tough decisions. But to bring it back to today for a minute, you know, if you want to work in Boston today, the jobs that a lot of your parents had and that I had working construction, those are different jobs today. When I was growing up, a lot of people worked for the phone company or the Edison or UPS or picking up trash or as a trashman, making a good living, working as a union worker, you know, all that good stuff that was around then. And it was all good. Those were good jobs if people got them. Today it's different. All you young people, you all have smartphones and computers, technology. The work today is a little different. It's about innovation, technology, medicine, engineering. I don't think you want to settle. You know, my father was a construction worker, and a lot of people in this room were construction workers and fathers, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good way to live. But there was a point in my life where I didn't want to be a construction worker. And I wanted to do something else, so I went to work for the union. So I had the chance. I had somebody who could get me in there. So I worked another. I put a suit and tie on every day. Today's economy is not so much about suit and tie, it's about getting an education. Technology, a little different. But as I'm chopping along in my life, I realized that, you know, I didn't want to work in an office every day. I wanted to do something different. I had a dream. And my dream was to run for public office. That was my dream. Now, I had bumps and bruises along the way in the road. You know, I had problems with hanging with the wrong people, being put in the wrong situations. You know, friends of mine going down the route of drugs, a bad way. Me going down the route of alcohol, a bad way. And realizing that what's happening and seeing my friends around me that have no ambition. So I went to detox. I got sober. Amen. Okay? When I came back, my life took off. So that road that when I came to a crossroad, I went left and I should have went right, I was able to back up the road, take 4 or 5 steps back and go down. But let me tell you about my friends. All right, I'm talking to these guys over here in the second row. Let me tell you about my friends. My friends decided to go down the wrong road. They're 47 years old today. They don't have a job. They're addicted to drugs. They're addicted to weed. They smoke weed every day, thinking that's a cool thing to do. That's not the way to go in life. Because you know what happens? You hang out here, and you laugh, and you joke, and you leave, and you go out and talk about people and have fun outside. And then when you're 30 years old, you know what you're doing? The same thing. And at the age of 40, you're doing the same thing. And that's if you don't end up getting arrested and going to jail. And that's because if you're not working, you don't have education, you need money. Percy said it. And no one's going to give it to you. You're not going to, somebody's going, here's $100, go buy yourself a new pair of sneakers. That doesn't happen. You know, it's about an education. There are people that came before you in these very seats that came to a class like this and left and go, pfft. And when they do that, where are they? They're the kids that we're reading about in the newspaper. You know, and there's some you're at a crossroad, a lot of people in this room. I am, every day. But let me just talk about education. Education is so important because the new economy in Boston is called the innovation economy. Anyone know what that is? Anyone have an idea what innovation economy is? Yes.
Innovation economy is when you're working with your brain, interacting most oftentimes with technology, especially computers, and you are the driving force. You are creating the future and new products every day.
Absolutely. And in that economy, you have to be able to react. You have to be able to think quickly. How many people in here have a cell phone? You have iPhones? Anyone has iPhones? Who has a cell phone? A smartphone? Do you know how to use it? What happens when your smartphone freezes up? What do? You freak out and then you figure it out, right? All right. When you're in class and you're writing a paper and your brain freezes, what do? We shut the book and walk away from it. But we want to make sure that smartphone's working. We want to make sure that phone is working because we can't go on without that phone. You know, I need the phone. I need my iPad. I need my iPhone. I need my computer. I need all the stuff that we have to do. Even when I go home, my cable box needs to be working. But sometimes when you need to learn about something, we don't use our brains the same way. So in the economy, we got to make our brains working like we're working on the iPhone, fixing the iPhone, or the Samsung, or the Droid, all the other phones we got. We also need to learn about how do we work together. Because moving an economy together, moving your life together is about hanging out. Now we all make relationships with our friends, right? You have your friends who you hang with. And then you have the other group that you don't hang with, you don't like them. At some point, that other group and you are going to be friends. Because you're going to grow up and say, what are we fighting for? This is foolish. You know? So it's also, life's about collaboration, but getting a job is about collaboration. The reason why I'm talking kind of like this today is that I want to make you understand how important it is for education. Yes, it is. Education is so important. Let me go back to my story. So I go to high school, go to college, Quincy Junior, I realize I can do it, I get better. I go to Suffolk University and I realize I can do the work in Suffolk. Then what do? I drop out of school. I drop out of college because I don't need it, or I felt that I really didn't need it at the time. I wasn't ready for it. But you know what I did? I went back to college because I understood that I didn't really know anything. Now at the time I was supposed to be there, I wasn't prepared for it. So I went back to college. I went back to Boston College. And I got my college degree in 2009. It's 2014. I got my college degree 5 years ago. I'm 47. I got it at the age of 42, which some of you think, oh, I was old. And the reason why I'm saying it, that I got my college degree is not thank you for the clap, not to get the applause, but to let you realize it's never too late to go back to school. And if you're 18 years old, it's too early to drop out of school. And you need to make sure that you get that degree and you get that education because that's important. A lot of the things that were on the board here today, everything on the board today was dead on. everything was dead on about life. You know, high school is important. How many high schoolers in this room? How many honor roll high school students in this room? How many A's and B's and C's high school students in this room? All right, next, all right, now the rest of everyone that's in high school that didn't raise your hand for those, raise your hand now. There's more than 4. There's more than 4. It's about, today's a new day. Today's a new day. It's about starting right now and getting better. You know, Percy talked about LeBron James. I mentioned LeBron James. LeBron James was born with a gift and 7 feet tall. 6 feet something. He's almost 7. He was born with a gift. Now, he's probably one of the greatest basketball players ever to play. I personally think Michael Jordan was the best, but that's all right. But the point of me saying that is not everyone can be LeBron James. Because you know why? You need other people in the life to make things work. You need people to be born as the LeBron James of the police department. You need people to be born to be the LeBron James of the basketball, of the fire department, of the technology world, of teachers, doctors, nurses, lawyers, all sports coaches, people that run the Reggie Lewis Track Center, all of those people. In your own way, people that do that work as LeBron James because they're superstars in their own way. You know, hanging out as a 18-year-old is fun. I loved it. I thought it was great. But after a while, when you're 24 and you're still doing the same things you did when you're 18, they're not fun anymore. You know, Boston's about success. Boston's about moving people forward. Now, Percy spoke about a situation that happened in Boston when I was elected mayor about 3 weeks into it, where I got a phone call in my office that a 9-year-old little boy had been shot. And I left my office, I jumped in the car. I'm the mayor, it's 3 weeks in, didn't want that day to come. We're flying down with the lights on, going to the house. And before we got there, I got a phone call from the police commissioner to say, Mayor, that little boy died. And I said, oh my God. I thought about it afterwards. As mayor of the city of Boston, what do you say? 9-year-old boy. How old are you? How old are you right there? Come here for a minute. Come here for a minute. 9-year-old little boy. This is a 9-year-old little boy. Okay? Thank you. Yeah. Don't leave me hanging. And so I go there, and when I get there, we're talking to the police, and they said, what happened, officer? Well, him and his brother were fooling around the house, and his brother had a gun and shot him. How old is his brother? 14. Took the clip out and didn't realize that there was a bullet in the chamber and shot him. So I started thinking, how many 14-year-olds is in this room? There's no way 14-year-olds should have a gun in this city. There's no way that anyone should have a gun in this city unless you are a Boston police officer, a state police officer, or you have a permit to carry. And you think about that. So I said to myself, I didn't know what to say. And his sister was in the house too, so I remember leaving there and I'm thinking to myself, here's a mother that has to come home to find out that her 9-year-old little boy was shot by her 14-year-old son. That stuff has to stop in Boston. That has to stop. You know, and a lot of this goes back to character. What type of person are you? I don't think anyone starts out, wakes up in the morning and says, you know, I want to smoke, I want to become a drug addict, alcoholic, and then I want to join a gang and I want to have a gun, I want to be a tough guy with a gun, I want to shoot somebody. I don't think anyone wakes up or is born that way. I know no one's born that way. All right? It's about decisions and making choices. It's about a word called character. It's about the right messages that people send. You know, some people think manhood is and I'm talking to the guys now, manhood is being a tough guy, strongest guy, I want to fight people, you know, I can fight, or I want to control my girlfriend. because I'm a tough guy. I can control my girlfriend, or I want to buy all kinds of these material things. Those aren't values. Those are selfish values. That's short-term strategies. That doesn't work. That stuff doesn't work. I've watched so many people make the right choices. The way you do is make right choices. You make right choices, it's going to prepare you for your life. If you refuse short-term successes and keep your eye on the prize, that's going to come back and pay dividends to your life. What do I mean by that? I mean helping your mother, helping your grandmother, trying to do good in school, trying to make the right decisions. And do you hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying make the right decisions. I'm saying try to make the right decisions. Just every now and then make the right decision. That's going to help you build character. Now, whether or not you go down the wrong road, because some people might still go down the wrong road every now and then, but you know, there's going to come a time in your life that you're going to realize, I got to change things up. And you're laying the foundation now as teenagers. And when you make that decision, that foundation is going to be deep inside of you, and it's going to work. That long-term foundation is going to help you. You know, just because I'm the mayor of Boston doesn't mean I wasn't a kid just like everyone in this room. You know, I grew up in Dorchester. I grew up down in Taft Street. You know, we had our share of problems down there. I could tell you a lot of stuff, what situations I've been in that some of you probably have been in and some of you probably haven't been in. But your neighbors, some of the kids in the streets have been in. I went down the wrong path myself. But you know what helped me? My family, my community, the decisions that were instilled in me as a young person. When I would sit here and listen, I would listen to people talk. And even when I was doing some things once in a while, I'd still help people. But it's important to keep your eye on the prize. I just want to go back to your friends. When everyone leaves here today, everyone in this room knows somebody who's a real tough guy in the city. All right? They're hanging out with the wrong crew and, you know, whatever. Everyone knows somebody like that. I have friends of mine that are like that now. They're not that tough. You take away their friends, they're not that tough. You take away the threat of a gun, they're not tough at all. You take away the threat of a knife, they're not tough at all. One-on-one, they're not tough. They're just like any of us. But what you're learning here is about your future. We're at a crossroad in Boston. We've had 19 people killed this year in the city of Boston. Of the 19 people, we have, I think, 15 of them by gunfire. 15 arguments, possibly, why people are dead today. Is that a good enough reason? No. What you guys, you have the opportunity in this room right here to change the future in the way we are in Boston. Okay? Think about that for a minute. You want to do something great in your life? You have the opportunity right here in this room, the men and women in this room, to change a whole generation of where we're going. In Chicago, they're worried because the young people are getting killed over there. In New York, they're worried because the young people are getting killed in New York at high numbers. Majority black men and some black girls. You have a president of the United States of America that's made a commitment to my brother's keeper to change the way the black community in Boston and America is. He wants to make sure that we end the violence. Now, I'm clearly not a black man, as you can tell. But I care about this city and I love this city. And I want to make sure that we provide safe paths so that I don't get a phone call in my office that a 9-year-old little boy or a 9-year-old little girl got shot ever again. And I need your help. I need your help to listen what's happening here. Take the strength, take the lessons that are on that board. And the last thing I want to say, how many people in this room have a dream? All right. What's your dream, Alabama shirt? Anything. Anything. It could be anything. Successful. What's your dream?
My dream?
Yeah.
My dream is to,
Anything.
change the world in a positive way.
Yeah. You have a dream? What is it? Successful. Who else? Anyone else have a dream? You have a dream? No? You have one. What about you with the red shirt in the back? Second row. Yeah. Yell it out. Successful. Give me another dream. You have a dream next to him. Tell me your dream. Well connected. Next to him, give me a dream. Give me something. Think about it. If I could give you can do anything you want in the world, what would it be? Anything. Quarterback for the Patriots. What else? Give me. How do you be successful? Somebody give me a specific dream. Yes, in the back with the yeah.
A lawyer in corporate law.
Lawyer in corporate law. Perfect. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you're not a lawyer in corporate law, but you try for it? But you try to get there. You tried. All right, so follow your dream. You know what my dream was? To run for public office someday. You know what happened? I won. You know? You know what my next dream was? My next dream was to run for mayor of Boston. Not to win mayor of Boston, to run for mayor of Boston. And I ran for mayor of Boston. What happened? I won. If I didn't win, what would happen? I tried. So you have to try. All right? You have to try. There's a lot of smart people in this room. There's a lot of smart people in this room. So my advice to you is listen. When Percy's talking about what's on this board, you listen, you watch, you read. You don't have to talk about it, but think about it. Think about what's on this board. And go back to that crossroad. Go back to that crossroad. Because whether you're 16 or 60, we come across crossroads in our life. That's what life is all about, crossroads, making the right decision. And what you want to do, as Percy said, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You just want to keep making that 1 step forward every now and then. Just keep making that 1 step forward. I want to thank you for the opportunity to say a few words today. I do have to run. I'm running to another event, but thank you. Remember what I said. Just hang in there.